At Boise State Public Radio, we understand that not everyone is able to give financially. Did you know there are other ways you can give? We are looking for new volunteers to add to our ranks and have a variety of opportunities.
Who wants to volunteer?
If you're interested in a hands-on volunteer experience, visit our website under the Support tab to find out more at boisestatepublicradio.org.
Thank you to all the staff and volunteers who are part of Boise State Public Radio.
It's the Connector Idaho Daily News. It is Wednesday, July 22nd. I'm Troy Oppie. Here are this morning's headlines. A University of Idaho professor says there has been some grain crop damage this spring in Idaho, but things are generally okay. A new lawsuit in Idaho aims to overturn a Supreme Court ruling limiting how much money political parties can spend in coordination with candidates. And the state of Idaho has spent about half its firefighting budget for the new fiscal year. First this morning to the wildfire smoke that has inundated the Treasure Valley. It's coming from wildfires burning in central and eastern Oregon. Here's Julie Luquetta with more from the Department of Environmental Quality.
DEQ has issued an air quality advisory for Ada, Canyon, Gem, Payette, and Washington counties. It means all outdoor burning is prohibited.
We are right now in the red. It's not good out there. If you can limit your exposure outside, it's highly recommended that you stay out of it.
That's DEQ's Mike Toole. The air quality is considered unhealthy for everyone, and folks should avoid exercising outdoors.
Because when you're exerting yourself, you're increasing your respiratory rate, your heart rate, and you're just sucking in more of that smoke.
For more up-to-date information, Toole recommends checking out the DEQ's website, as well as an EPA map called Fire and Smoke. That last one compiles data from federal and tribal air quality monitors, as well as individually owned scanners.
It gives you more points of data, more locations for monitors to get a sense of what's going on.
Toole says smoke is temperamental, but he anticipates it will linger in the area for the rest of the week. Julie Luquetta, Boise State Public Radio News.
The current air quality in the Treasure Valley, as measured by multiple devices across the Treasure Valley area, is unhealthy for sensitive groups. The Ohio fire near Haley was fully contained as of yesterday evening. That's according to Blaine County Fire and Rescue. No structures were damaged or lost in the 2,035-acre blaze. Previous evacuation warnings, though, do remain in effect, according to fire managers. Residents in those areas should remain set to evacuate at a moment's notice if conditions were to change. Indian Creek Road remains closed to the public. It's open for residents only. Ohio Gulch Road, the transfer station, and Valley Club are all open to the public, but public lands in the fire area are not yet open for recreation. That fire is suspected of being human-caused. 1 out of every 4 fires on state land this year, 118 ignitions so far, have been human-caused. That's according to State Department of Lands Manager Dustin Miller. He updated the State Land Board yesterday on the current status of wildfire in Idaho. So far, the state is on the hook for about $15 million worth of firefighting costs. That's a little under half of what the state budgeted for wildfire expenses in the current fiscal year, and it does not include the state's share of fighting the Claremont fire in the Boise foothills. IDL has actually spent more than that, but will be reimbursed by other agencies for some expenses. Miller says conditions are expected to get worse as the season goes on.
Persistent drought continues across much of Idaho, and significant fire potential remains elevated for large portions of northern and southern Idaho through the rest of the month. By August, the entire state is expected to have above normal fire potential with above average temperatures.
The state continues to ask residents to be cautious with fire. The state's only long-term burning restriction in effect is a burn ban in the Cascia Ranger District of the Sawtooth National Forest. Some grain crops in southern Idaho suffered some damage this spring, but remain on track overall to be okay. That's according to a University of Idaho agriculture and life sciences professor. Juliet Marshall says some cereal crops recovered after difficult conditions better than previously predicted, though some yield loss is expected due to the mild winter that allowed pests like aphids to flourish. Marshall says the Magic Valley's cereal grain crop suffered more losses compared to East Idaho. It's because farmers further east transition from sugar beets or potatoes to grain crops later each fall. That benefits those farmers because their grain was not as far along when a late spring frost hit the area in April. Marshall says the outlook for many farmers is okay, despite some having to mow down fields of fall wheat and barley due to drought stress, frost damage, and elevated pest and disease pressure following the unusually warm and dry winter. Last month, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that limiting how much money political parties can spend in coordination with candidates is unconstitutional. Now, a new lawsuit in Idaho is hoping to overturn those spending caps. Here's James Dawson with more.
The lawsuit comes from Idaho's Libertarian Party, a mainstream conservative political action committee, and a Republican candidate for the state Senate in Boise. They filed the case on Friday after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled last month the laws limiting coordinated expenditures between political parties and candidates violate the First Amendment. Right now, Idaho law limits party contributions to $1,000 for local candidates, $2,000 for legislative seats, and $10,000 for statewide campaigns. The suit says these donation caps impose, quote, a stifling effect on the ability of parties to fulfill the purpose for which they exist. Meanwhile, political action committees or PACs have no contribution or expenditure limits, though they're not allowed to coordinate with candidates. The Secretary of State's office didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. Plaintiffs are asking a judge to invalidate these limits well ahead of the November general election. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
An East Idaho judge has rejected a plea deal for a former LDS church leader accused of sexually abusing minors. East Idaho News reports 47-year-old Virgil Larson would not have had to register as a sex offender under the plea deal, which reduced the 6 charges he faced. Larson is accused of abusing 6 minors and one 18-year-old, providing the boys naked massages at his residence. Larson in court said the massages were for athletic and therapeutic help as opposed to abuse, framing that was refuted by victims' statements, according to the county prosecuting attorney. Judge Robert Nafst ruled the plea deal to be inappropriate. Larson will now go to trial on 6 counts of felony abuse of a child. Storm damage on Bogus Basin Road means a temporary signal and 1-lane road at mile marker 10 starting later today. The Ada County Highway District says the signal, which will control about 700 feet of roadway, is needed following recent storms that led to washout of part of the road and the shoulder. ACHD says geotechnical work is already underway to fix the road, but the physical road work is unlikely to begin until late next month. The temporary traffic signal and 1-lane road will remain in place through the completion of repairs. The major reservoirs holding back water on the Colorado River just set a new record. As Alex Hager reports for the Mount West News Bureau, the combined amount in Lake Powell and Lake Mead is now the lowest it's been since 1957.
The last time there was this little water stored along the Colorado River, Lake Powell hadn't even been built yet. Jack Schmidt directs the Center for Colorado River Studies at Utah State University.
It's a real reminder of what a remarkably small amount of water we have left in the system. We've never been in this position. We are truly in uncharted territory.
Schmidt said Western policymakers aren't doing enough to turn things around. He compared current negotiations over sharing the Colorado River to a bus careening toward a cliff, with policymakers arguing about who should steer rather than hitting the brakes. Alex Hager, Phoenix.
Boise police are asking for the public's help locating an apparent runaway 16-year-old named Gracie. The department says she may be in the Boise or Meridian area, but they followed lead for weeks and spoken to people who have been in contact with her but still do not know where she is. Gracie is 5'2", 16 years old with brunette hair. There are photos on the Boise Police Facebook page. Anyone with information is asked to call Ada County Dispatch. And that's your connector for this Wednesday, July 22nd. I'm Troy Oppie. You will not hear my voice on this podcast for about a month. Lauren Patterson will be taking the reins instead. Hope you continue to listen and, of course, like and subscribe. Share this podcast with your friends as well. That helps us grow. Make it a great day.
Each story you hear on Planet Money starts with a question. What happens if we refund tariffs? Why are groceries so expensive? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious because the forces shaping our world can be hard to see. Follow NPR's Planet Money wherever you get your podcasts and start seeing how the economy really works.